2 Kings in chapter 5, you know the story of Naaman, a leper. And somebody told him, he had a servant girl from Israel who said, hey, there's a prophet in our land who can heal the sick. So Naaman went to Elisha's little cottage with a letter from the king. And when he came to Elisha's cottage, he stood there, and Elisha didn't even come out. It says in 2 Kings 5 verse 9, Naaman came with his horses and his chariots. Can you imagine this Syrian general coming to this little hut of a prophet of God? And he thought, like in Syria, all the false prophets would bow down before him. He thought this prophet of God would come out and raise his hand and smite him because he's a big man, just like many preachers who will always fawn over the rich people and do a lot of things for rich people which they'll never do for the poor. Those are not servants of God, they are servants of the devil. Any man who fawns over rich people and doesn't care for the poor, I will clearly call him a servant of the devil, not of God, any day. And that need not be a servant of God only, it could be a believer. If you find you're more attracted to the rich people than to the poor people, my brother, you're going the wrong direction. Be careful where you end up finally when you die. But Elisha wouldn't even come out of the house. I like that. Some of these Old Testament prophets, they're real heroes of mine. Here this general comes to his house and he doesn't even come out to greet him. If it was some poor man he came, Elisha would have come out, but not for this man. We need servants of God like that today, I tell you. They are very rare. And Naaman came with his horses, and Elisha just sent a messenger, told Gehazi, go and tell him to wash in the Jordan. And Naaman was furious, verse 11. I like that. Beautiful. I wish there was a video of this. Naaman, furious, this prophet won't come to see me, doesn't he know who I am? I thought he would come and stand and call on the name of the Lord and wave his hand over the place and cure the leper. No, you don't know God. And you don't know his true servants. Anyway, he did what he was told to go and dipped in the river. And he was healed. I said, boy, he's really a man of God. I got healed. My flesh has become, verse 14, just like that of a little child. Then he came back to the man of God again. That's one good thing about some of these heathen people, which sometimes even Christians haven't learned. To be grateful to those who have served you and whose service blessed you. You got something. You got healed from some leprosy in your family or in your life. This man was so prompt to come back and say, boy, even though he didn't come out of the hut, at least let me go and thank him. I can send a message to him, say thank you very much. He returned to the man of God. And then Elisha came out. And Naaman said, now I know there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. So here's a present. I got a gift. And here's another mark of these really godly men. As the Lord lives, before whom I stand right now, the Lord is here, I will take nothing from you. Why did Elisha say that? Elisha wasn't working. How was he supporting himself? He needed food and clothing, and how did he live? What an opportunity to get gifts from him. He could have survived for 10 years with Naaman's gifts. No, I will take nothing. These are the men, you must read about these men. These are the true servants of God in the Old Testament, and these are the true servants of God today. Because Naaman was an unbeliever. And a true servant of God does not take a cent from an unbeliever. That's why we don't pass a bag around in a church. I'll tell you why we don't pass an offering bag around. There could be somebody here whose life is not right with God. He has got no right to give money to God. Go and take it and use it on yourself. There could be an unbeliever here. He's got no right to give money to God. Sorry. We don't want your money. That's the danger of passing a bag around. Because you're collecting from Naaman's and from a whole lot of other people like that. Elisha said, I'll take nothing. What did Jesus say? Go back to that verse. He who is faithful with unrighteous wealth will get the true riches. We want the true riches in our church. I want the true riches in my life. From my earliest Christian experience, when I was born again, I said, Lord, I want the true riches in my life. And you notice another reason why Elisha had discernment about this man. Naaman said, okay, you won't take anything. He urged him. He said, I won't take anything. And Naaman says, yeah, I know all these full-time workers. They just put a little pressure, they'll take it. Just trying to act spiritual and say, I don't want. So it says Naaman urged him, oh, come on, take it. And some preachers would have yielded, okay, if you insist, I'll take it. Not Elisha. He says, sorry, I don't want it. I don't want any of it. You refused. Make such men your examples. But it says in verse 20, Gehazi, he wasn't bothered about all that. He wasn't bothered whether Naaman bowed down to 100 idols. He said, behold, my master has spared this man. We didn't even ask for money. This fellow came and offered it. And my master just let him go. My master has let this man slip through his fingers without even giving any money. I will run after him and take something from him. We have a picture here of two types of Christian workers today. And one is Gehazi. And when Naaman saw Gehazi running after him, and he said, hey, is everything okay? And he said, yeah, everything's okay, except that my master sent me. Once a man's covetous, he can begin to tell lies easily. Have you noticed that in your life? You're greedy for something, you'll compromise a little and tell a little lie or sign a slightly false statement so that you can make some profit from it. But my master sent me saying, hey, two Bible school scholars have just come, what are called Sons of the Prophets. Those days, the School of the Prophets is what we call a Bible school today. All the false prophets in Israel came out of the Bible schools, then and now. Please remember that. Not a single true prophet in the Old Testament came from the School of the Prophets. They were trained by God in remote places, hidden from public view. But from the School of the Prophets, people came out with the certificates and degrees, and they were the false prophets then and today. So he said, there are some Bible school scholars have come, two young men, and can you please, we need to support them, we need to give them free education and all that type of stuff. The same type of stories they write in false reports to America and all today. It's exactly the same. Please give us a little money and 2 changes of clothes for these new students. And Naaman said, sure, don't take 1 talent, I'll give you 2 talents. And again, Gehazi said, no. But he says, he urged him, and Gehazi says, okay, if you insist, I'll take it. So typical of today. It says there, I'm not pretending. He urged him. And he found 2 talents of silver, verse 23, in 2 changes of clothes, and gave them to servants, and they carried them before him. The servants carried all that stuff. There was so much stuff. And just as they came to the hill, Gehazi said, don't come anymore. I don't want Elisha to see you. You can go home now. Just give me the money and all the clothes. This is the same thing happening today. Exactly the same. And he took it and went and hid it somewhere in his house. And he came with a holy face, verse 25, and stood before his master and said, praise the Lord, Elisha. You think you can fool a man of God? You think you can, but God gives his servants discernment. I tell you. They may not tell you what they know about you, but they know a lot more by just looking at your face. And he says, where have you been? He said, I didn't go anywhere. He said, didn't my heart go with you? I saw everything that you did. Is this a time to receive money? Verse 26, clothes from these people? I'll tell you something. You not only got his money, you also got his leprosy. Verse 27, not only you, but your children forever. He got it immediately. Why are these warnings written in the Old Testament of people who claim to be servants of God? I think see, everybody who runs after money doesn't get leprosy. But Gehazi claimed to be a disciple of Jehovah. It's those who claim to be disciples of Jesus who get into more problems. If they are unfaithful in this area, it's written for our instruction. And one day Gehazi's little 6-year-old boy comes to him and says, Daddy, I've got a little patch on my hand. I don't feel any sensation there. What is it? What will his father tell him? When your children suffer because of your greed, what are you going to tell them? Leprosy is a terrible thing.